I'd be interested in hearing from you guys, what role can and should an agency play in terms of communities? Because it seems like a lot of it is owned by you guys because you are the brand and you are the community. So
I think an agency's role is to be on the forefront of what's new, what's up and coming, how people are speaking. What's the terminology? What's the jargon? We're behind closed doors. We're focused on selling one thing, but we're not out there in the clubs. We're not on the street. We're not in the malls. We're not. We don't know what the hottest new clothing item is, or what the new cell phone is, or which new band is hot. So I think the agency's role is to continue to stay at the forefront of what's new. That will keep your social leaders, impressed. They'll be like, hey, how did you know that? That's insightful. That's how I think. That's what I do. And now you've opened my mind. I don't think the brand people can do that.
Ways to keep your community leaders engaged.
Yeah, it's basically knowing what they did in the last month and being able to just drop keywords or drop key messages or say it in a way that, hey, I heard that the other day. That's cool.
Right.
Because the brand guys don't have it. That's where you guys come in.
What do you think?
I think the other thing that could be of real value and something we're looking at using agencies to help us with is you inevitably are talking to one person or one group of clients, right? Whether social or communities are managed out of the marketing team, out of the digital team, out of the PR team. And I think what will be of value for us is having an agency that can step back and actually say, hey, have you thought about all of these other pieces of your business that could also be influenced by social, and helping to put together a plan for actually, what about licensing? What about merchandise? How does DVD fit in here? How does on demand or whatever it might be for your whatever your product life cycle is, but helping to unite a strategic vision beyond kind of the client's silos is of huge use, especially if it's a plan that, if you're in bed enough with the client, that you understand the politics of that client and that organization. If you can help to establish a plan that a communication plan that will actually allow all of these different stakeholders within an organization to contribute in a way that's going to make it a better experience for the consumer, that's golden.
Yeah.
And we could use that, so I'll hire you.
Well, part of our approach, we actually, because there's so many people that are pretending to be good at social media. So we through our approach, we actually indoctrinate clients on the space. And in every case, our intent is to actually get them to take over and manage it themselves. And in part because that gets back to one of the beliefs that we have, and that is that clients, they fundamentally know the brand and what they're trying to do with it day to day, and can react to and proactively, kind of relate that information. And it's very difficult for the 2 or 3 or 5 step filter of, okay, the producer just called the person that's the writer who's got this question about this post, who's now going back to the project manager who's calling the client to ask, hey, is this going to be okay with you guys? I mean, it's just like, it doesn't work. You need somebody there going, I'm not going to let that get through, or I am. And because of that proximity and time factor, building a base program that is maintained by the client. And then, to your point, we view our job as like, here's another thing to do. Here's another community to relate to. Here's, it's a seasonal thing. So let's work to manage that transition into kind of a hibernation mode, so that it's dormant but usable when it's ready again. So that you can reactivate it. So we help with those kinds of things. It's just not in many cases it takes too much time for us to do it versus the clients to do it and do it well. Plus, once they start to believe in it, it becomes so much more useful as a part of the arsenal of communicating. And to my earlier point, if the employees believe it and attach to it and relate through it, I mean, it's just 10 times more powerful. So if the agency's doing it, it's like those guys versus us, you know, and that's their thing. And if it's the client doing it, we're doing it, and more of the employees tend to kind of relate and do it.
We've also seen too, and this is, I actually come from the agency world, so this is not, and I'm actually speaking about my old agency in this context, so this is not a knock, but I just think that when you hand it off to an agency, the day-to-day management, it will inevitably fall to a junior person in the agency to manage that day-to-day. And there is always going to be less passion when it's not your own. Like, if it's my skin on my back, it's my team who's updating those pages, and people internally know to call me when there's a problem. When it's an agency, it's one step removed, and the passion and the sort of the tone is one step removed, and that it's, you also don't have, to your point, have the ability to move on something. So we are hearing, you know, we know pretty instantly when something's a problem because Larry David did something that people don't like on his TV show last night, and then we can get in there and quickly plan for how we need to, you know, tweak or accommodate that. And I think once you have an agency, and you have to try and explain it to them, and you know, they just, it's a little bit, it's a little too detached. But I think, again, for us, this stuff changes every single day. Like, Facebook updates their platform, like, could they, once a week, you know, and it screws everything up and we have to rethink. And so agencies who can be on top of that and help us, you know, figure out what it means when Facebook changes their homepage again, and how do we adjust what we're doing to a day-to-day, that's hugely valuable.
Not
because
missing a beat.
Or knowing what's working out there in different industries, and you know, for example, like we just started Facebook like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and we learned it from the Seattle Mariners. We went out to Seattle, and they have like 100,000 followers, and they actually, like, we put a lot of media into, hey, you know, this Saturday concert's coming to town, Kool and the Gang's here, come to the Trop post-game concert. You know, we spend a lot of money on that. Hey, Sunday's Family Fun Days, come get your, you know, today's, you know, Matt Garza bobblehead for kids 14 and under, you know, Friday night. So we're spending all this money pumping, you know, reminder advertising, or here's what's tactically going out, but now you've got Facebook to do it. Now, instead of just sending out, you know, hey, Friday is this bobblehead giveaway, you know, in Seattle, they started using their agency a little bit more, and they, you know, they were doing more promotions around it, where, you know, send us your favorite this, or send us a picture of this, and they learned that from another client they had. So I think if an agency can start bringing what's new and hot to get people engaged, again, it's just another touch point. But if there's things that are working elsewhere, let's test it. I think that's where the agency comes in. It's that creativity, those new ideas. But I do agree, having it in-house is important, that ownership and that continuity, and